So when did you start this particular garden?
When I bought the house in the fall of, started the garden in the fall of 2001. So I started in this little corner to plant my garlic. To doing that because I moved here in July 2001. And I was kind of too late to start a garden. It was kind of like hot, and so I just start kind of like small, and I start making it kind of like bigger as it goes. And so this mostly for the vegetables. These are berry bushes, so these are my gooseberries. Flowers.
Yeah.
No, I don't have these, but they find my garden anyway. Even without the bees. I'm thinking about getting a hive, but I'm just a little too lazy. I think I have enough things to do, so. This one is also an edible flower. Tastes like cucumber, borage. And you can put these in a salad too. Eat the flowers as well. They taste a little bit like cabbage, but I put them, even the young ones. Like that, it's kind of like broccoli. So broccoli is basically the flowers that haven't opened. These are chamomile. If I don't cut them back, then there's always more than enough. So these are all like volunteers. So there's always a lot of seed that drop. Contemporary issues in food and agriculture.
Yes, in that class, Dr. Biggelaar always was talking about his garden. And one day I told him, we are hearing you all the time talking about the garden. When are we going to go? Here I am. Dr. Biggelaar, you have been teaching at the university in the Sustainable Development Department for how many years?
20 now.
20 years.
Yeah, a lot of years, lots of students.
A lot of students, and you have seen so many things, the department developing, and when you came here to teach.
Well, it was kind of like a program across departments, and so it was called Sustainable Development Program. And so they moved it, Jeff Boyer, he was in anthropology, he was the founding director, but the department was involved with anthropology, biology, geology, interdisciplinary studies, and appropriate technology. And so it's multiple departments, and then when they hired me, they moved kind of like the home from anthropology to interdisciplinary studies. I was in America.
Oh, okay. So you applied?
I applied for the job.
In those times, it was not online, that's for sure.
No.
You send a letter, photocopies and stuff. Where did you study?
I did my undergraduate in the Netherlands. And then from there, after a year of military service, I did volunteer work in Africa, in Burkina Faso, People's Republic of the Congo, Central African Republic, and when I came back, we started graduate work with my wife at Michigan State. So I got my master's in extension education, a PhD in forestry. Then I did a postdoc in Kenya, and I did some consulting work in Kenya for the International Center for Research in Agroforestry, and also for the FAO's Forest People and Tree Program, where I worked with some local NGOs, kind of like in the field that I had done my dissertation on, which was how farmers experiment with trees to develop some kind of like ideas about agroforestry and use of species.
They didn't hesitate to take you. The department has evolved a lot, and in all these years for you, what has been the most relevant thing? What's your legacy in that sense?
Well, one thing that as a program that you haven't been good off, or as a department, keeping in touch with former students a lot, with kind of like alumni. In the early years, they always got their degrees at interdisciplinary studies. is a concentration in sustainable development. They got degrees in sustainable development starting in 2008. So we had a sustainable development degree to do that. And so they could have an actual diploma that said sustainable development with a concentration in. So, and so it has stayed like that, and then it became a department, degree granting department in 2013. And so we went from just kind of like a minor and a concentration area in interdisciplinary studies to a degree in sustainable development and offering a minor as well, and then to a formal degree, as a department, academic department.
So some of your students have been...
I know some are actually farming.
It's a true model of what agroecology means to me, because I see crops and I see, natural land right in the middle, like, that's one and the same, you know what I mean? So, and then rather, the tree rows, which Christoph from ASU kind of helped implement. This whole tree thing right here, Christoph made all that happen years ago, because this used to be ASU farm before they got their farm.
Kind of like seeing some work, a lot of communities have community garden coordinators, they have sustainability coordinators, so they might work in that field. Some are more kind of like tangentially. You had a number of students that work for RAFI, the Rural Advancement Foundation based in Pittsburgh, or Carolina Farm Stewardship Association. Some that are involved in ASAP, Appalachian Sustainable Agriculture programs based near Asheville. Other ones sent back to different organizations or being involved in food and agriculture.
The seeds were planted and they're growing up.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's kale and this purple mustard. So those just grow by themselves, and you see the mustard kind of like flowers. And then I collect the seeds, or the seeds kind of drop. So the corn salad is kind of like flowering. You eat like earlier, there's kind of kale that's starting to come up. That's volunteer, the kale, the colored purple mustard. Well, it's hard to know whether, COVID is related to climate. A lot of people, they want to get out of the house, and they say, well, it's kind of like the flu, what they were talking about the news this morning. People think it's just like the flu, it goes away in the summer. But of course, it was summer in the southern hemisphere in January, and they had COVID there as well, and it's kind of like spreading even in tropical countries. So it's not kind of like seasonal, it doesn't matter, so it's kind of like quite different. What does make a difference, in terms of climate becoming more unpredictable. As we had here, we had hardly any winter and very little snow this past winter. Hardly any frost, so a lot of trees were kind of blooming early. My peach tree is blooming in late February. What can happen, just like with the chestnut trees, they were just leafing out and all the leaves kind of like froze. It's kind of like the same, my mulberry trees, they should be in leaves and they have no leaves at all because they froze like twice. They came out early, and then we had a little bit of, got cold, and all the buds kind of like froze. Then they were leafing out, and then got hit the second time, in mid-May, and so it becomes really hard to kind of like say, you can't control kind of like nature. You have to deal with it. The trees will develop kind of new leaves, but will be really kind of like late.
Well, you seem so comfortable talking about, okay, we have to deal with it, but there are a lot of the suicide rates on farmers in America is growing, and not everybody can build that kind of resilience that you have with so many years, working in the field, and this is not easy, and it's going to be more difficult for the farmers.
Well, it is, up here some kind of like a safety net, but you see also like in East Africa, starting in Somalia and Yemen, because it was a lot wetter than it usually be, so they had this locust plague, and the locusts are now kind of like spreading through East Africa. It had been years that farmers, the rains were really like late, and so farmers were late with planting their maize, which is kind of like the staple in East Africa. You know, this year they have kind of like, in some cases, really torrential kind of like downpours that causes flooding and landslides and rock slides, in addition to the locust plague that's going, and so that has an effect on people as well.
But what about here? We are in the Appalachian Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We can travel now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to Madagascar. Not at this point.
Not at this point yet.
Not at this point yet. And
It's still okay, but you know, there's COVID here as well, and it's getting more people affected there as well. You know, normally for a fence for cattle, but I use them so the beans can climb up. And so these are kind of like pole beans, and this is like a little birdhouse in there, but that's the little birdie that you hear. That one. That makes the noise, and there's 2 or 3 that making a nest around here. And then the orange one is a bird nest that has swallows in it, like the tree swallow. They're finally making a nest. Well, usually the male starts making a nest, and then he starts singing to get the female to, and the female checks out whether the nest is meets her standards before she starts laying eggs or not. And so I think we had like 3 of those I put up earlier. I have kind of like one small one that he made, and then I had one hanging from the tree there that for the past few years, but they didn't make a nest in there this year. So there's some black currants and some red currants, kind of like a mix. And then I planted chervil, and this is also like an herb, you know, you can put in soup or in salad. It has a little anisey flavor. You make the soup, and then you put the leaves in at the last minute so you don't cook it. So otherwise it loses the flavor, so it's sort of like a dressing in there. American plum, these are like June berries, there's hazelnuts up there, and some raspberries, some more currants. I have some pear trees up here and in the back. And so there's like one, you get a compost pile to the right.
Yeah, it's permaculture.
Yeah, so I plant a lot of different things together, sometimes kind of like experimenting with things, like the little patch. Kind of like in between, I mix like lettuce and purple mustards and coriander, lettuce, maybe 2 different kinds of lettuces, and I all kind of like put them in a mix to plant them kind of like together. You know, normally I would always plant them kind of like separately, but I said, well, I'll plant them all kind of like together and see what they will do. So this is the little patch, so I mix kind of like things in up here. So we'll see what it will do. I planted before it got cold in early May, and it was kind of like a weekend that was warm, and so they were really slow to come up, but you know, they're going like pretty fast at this point. So
which beans do you have here?
So the beans, they're all like heirloom varieties, open pollinated varieties. So Trail of Tear beans, I have a yellow wax pink tip, a bigger kind of like pink tip that's called like turkey bean, or turkey craw, that's kind of like from Ashe County, and I can't remember what the other one is, but there's also one. And then some of the other beans up there are kind of like older varieties as well, like Provider green bean. Yeah, let's see, all of these. These are the turkey craw, Trail of Tears, Worcester beans. I got that from an old couple at the farmers market that was selling them. They're really beautiful beans too, kind of like very large, kind of like seed. And some are white with kind of like reddish brown spots, some are kind of like purple with kind of like whitish spots and black spots on them, so it's kind of like a mix, probably more than one variety, but that's fine with me. An apple tree, and then I have some more gooseberries and black currants. You can just walk around, and if you kind of like see something that you want me to talk about, so. There's some mint. I can get some to make the tea. Just kind of like a different type of mint, but then these are parsnip and cow parsnip, probably like a mix. You know, the roots are like edible. They're really kind of like very sweet. Taste like a carrot, but a lot sweeter. But when they flower, it attracts kind of like a lot of beneficial insects in the garden. So that's why I want them. So there's a lot of fireflies and ladybugs and parasitic wasps. And so I leave those around. You know, and if I get to them, I might harvest the roots. Some herbs and stuff like that. So celery and parsley and stuff like that. And so these are about flowered out here. So this is a whether this is a peach or I think I had labeled as a Asian pear, but the leaves look like very peachy. So, but I grew that from seed. So this is the second year. So I planted seed in the fall of 2018. Okay, now last year, about a year ago, I planted it outside, like in May. I planted this out, so this is kind of like in 2 years. Or the second year of growth, so. There's some grapevines up here. Some cover crops. This is a blue grape, and this is kind of like a white grape up here. And so some comfrey, and some more kind of like apple trees here. So it's like two, actually kind of like three, but that one died, but the rootstock still survives, kind of like in the middle. Yeah, these are hazelnuts. So some of these are probably about 8 years old now. Doing that, some on the hill, they are about 12, 15 years old when I first started planting them. So these are all like different ones slightly from the Arbor Day Foundation. So so you can see the difference in the size and the color of the leaves, but also the nuts are kind of like different. So I do keep some data, you know, so I count the number of nuts that I harvest and I weigh the nuts to doing that. And sometimes I do save kind of like the really big nuts to grow like small little trees myself, and then, you know, to plant or give them away as presents.